this is 8/19/24.
Oh, my thing says 7.
Yeah.
All right, that clock's slow.
Which one, this one up here?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mike,
yes, it is 7
has
o'clock.
everybody signed it now?
Oh, Mike's not on?
Mike's on. Hello?
No, it's not.
I don't think so.
No.
Testing.
No, it's not.
No, it's
No, they're not. Ooh,
There we go.
Oh, I got
Oh,
to,
no.
I got to, I
I
got
don't
to,
think this one
We
is.
need 2 more people to hit it.
that's a dud.
Hello?
Okay, we got it, Mike. No.
Okay. I'll
Can you hear me?
quiet, then I don't have to worry about it.
No,
Do you care if you can hear me?
I do. I love having your voice. Soothing.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Limington Planning Board for Monday, August 19th. The first item on the agenda is the Saco River Wildlife Center, who had submitted an application to move to, I think it's 57 Christian Hill Road, and tonight is our public hearing. So I'm going to ask you to go to the mic if you would, and just give everybody here a little update on what's going on. I will say we did do a site walk, and it's an exciting property over there.
Yeah, my name is Peter Doig. I am from Buxton at 454 River Road. And I'm a board member of Saco River Wildlife. We purchased the property at 57 Christian Hill last April with the intention to try and move there. Previously, the facility had been the house had been a wolf sanctuary. And our founder, Bethany Brown, had actually spent time there learning how to be an animal rehabber. And so it had some emotional attachment and some history for our place. We are currently located at 238 River Road in Limington. The facility is, well, it's in Bethany's basement, and we currently are growing out of it. We'd also like to move into a place where the facility right now is it's not appropriate, really, the land use, and we'd like to move to somewhere that actually we have approval from the planning board to actually do such a facility. We did a site walk with the planning board. We've talked about our plans for the facility. I think it's much larger. We have 18 acres. We have a nice 9-acre parcel. We have a house we want to renovate and turn into a fit-for-purpose facility for the animals. Saco River Wildlife, by way of history, was founded about 10 years ago, has grown since then into what it is today, where we're taking in maybe, I'm expecting over 1,000 animals this year. Every year we take in about 5 to 10% more. We are one of the largest facilities in the state, and we currently are one of the few that actually does, especially at our scale, rabies vector species such as raccoons and skunks. And these type of animals in the area, there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of issues with them, and we actually rehab them, bring them back, and we currently now have an agreement with both the Nature Conservatory and the state to be able to release the animals back on their properties. So that actually relieves a big issue we have of we rehab the animals, where do they go after that? We don't release them on our own property, so we're always searching. Now we have access to tens of thousands of acres actually to put
That's
the animals,
great.
which
That's
is really great. This is a new development over the past week for us. So, yeah, so that gives by and large kind of a nutshell history, I think, of where we're at, what we're trying to do, and that we're trying to use the facility for that.
Okay.
We expect to be a fairly quiet facility. We don't have a lot of people there most days, 4 to 5, and you know, the type of animals we keep are small mammals, generally not noisy. They don't make a lot of nuisance. Yeah.
Whoever's phone, please turn it off. Okay, so I'm going to open it up. This is a public hearing, and anyone who has questions they'd like to ask or answers they'd like to get, now's the time to do it. Wow, you're getting off easy here tonight. Nobody's here.
I was expecting at least curious seekers, because
Yeah.
some of our butters do ask a lot of questions about when we might open.
Yeah.
So,
They probably get their answers directly from you, so they don't need to
Yeah.
come out on could be a stormy night. I did hear someone ask where the land is, where the federal or state land is that you'll be letting, not that it makes a difference, but just curiosity, is it
Most
like
of that is
in
over
southern Maine, or is
Most
it?
of it is over southern Maine. So the state requires us usually to keep animals within about 100 miles unless
Oh,
we have
okay.
exception to do that. So basically, to both take animals from within 100 miles, but also to release them. And that's partly because of concerns about disease, spread disease within the animal population. You're trying to keep it somewhat restricted.
Right,
But occasionally, there are emergency situations, and the state gives us permission to do something larger. So we're talking basically New Hampshire line from York
yep.
up to probably Lewiston,
Great,
Augusta area,
great.
right? So.
Does anyone on the board have?
I have a
Pete?
question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bonnie. Can you hold a minute? I didn't see your hand. I'm sorry, Bonnie.
I didn't see it either. I just.
Thank you, Bonnie Lori Laughlin, Cape Road. Hearing about the animals being released in the Nature Conservancy's land
Conservative land and state land.
and state land, that feels just very wonderful to me somehow. But I'm starting to think about the animals, and I just would appreciate you explaining to us. Some of your animals come probably to you from locally.
Yeah.
And then they're being introduced to a place, tens of thousands of acres, you said, someplace. It's a good place. So I'm just one of those people who, sees things on YouTube about the dog that traveled 500 miles to get back home. And so I'm just trying to, in good humor, I'm just saying, I'm curious about whether animals settle for that or whether they come back and visit us.
Sometimes they do. They sometimes do come back from a distance if they can. Many of our animals are orphans, so they have no memory of where they came from. But on the other hand, where appropriate, we try and release them back near where they were. That's not always the case. I mean, for example, we took a mink from a fish processing facility in the old port of Portland. There's no way that mink is going back there. It was pretty remarkable. It was a baby, and the person who was doing the fish, he caught it, and we got it. And it's like, that's not a place to re-release the mink. On the other hand, we try and find locations that are appropriate, but within, say, the greater Portland area, that's less and less able for some of it. We can't release a true trash panda raccoon back into a dumpster in, South Portland. And those are the realities of it. So for orphans, frequently, we try and find them a place that's going to be a good wildlife home, right? Because they don't remember. For other animals, and I can think of one I did last year, a raccoon that was hit by a car. I thought it was going to be really bad, but it turned out concussion. He got better. We released him within a half mile of where we found him, but not near the main road that he was living. Now, he may have moved back. We don't know, but we try and release him, somewhere in the general vicinity if we can. And we also have the ability for finders often, to say for certain species, they would like them back at their property. So somebody can check off and say, if this animal survives and it's appropriate, we can re-release the animal back where they were found. So it's all a matter of, but for orphans, it's a big problem. So for raccoons this year, what are we at 90 or something? Baby raccoons. I mean, we can't release them all back where they were. It's just not going to work. So we look for lots of land. And the other problem is, sometimes the land is already occupied by a high density of that species. We can't release them back where there's already a high density, or it just creates conflict. So we have to think a little about, even with the Nature Conservancy of state land, what's actually there sometimes before we actually consider releasing into that area, because we just can't poke them in. My own property on River Road in Buxton, there are some animals I can release. We have probably a contiguous 30 or 40 acres behind my property of abutters that were all willing to do it. But on the other hand, I also know from my game cams, I can't put raccoons in there. There's already plenty of raccoons. I can't put foxes in there. There's already plenty of foxes, right? I mean, we would just create a conflict if we tried to release animals in those areas. So we try and be thoughtful about that. Yeah.
Pete, you had a question?
Yes. As far as Limington goes, that used to be a residence, correct?
That used to be a residence, yes.
So now, what are you going to call it? Is it a hospital?
It's a wildlife,
No, the building itself.
oh, the building.
Now, what kind of codes, building codes are gonna come? Is it state, Boker, or our codes?
That's gonna be probably a commercial building, yeah.
So I'd be covered under commercial codes. And well, with a lot of your help, it says if you volunteer,
Yes,
and I see that there's a lot of electrical work that's gonna have to be done.
yeah,
There's no heating system,
no,
and you need bathrooms and everything else, and you said there might be people staying overnight.
yep.
So now, my other part of the question is, at what state of completion before you're allowed to operate?
When it's completed.
One is,
Now, that's the first floor only.
Well, you're
No,
doing,
we're gonna do both floors,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
He's completing the whole building.
Yeah.
'Cause I was,
The only part we're not is there's a shed connected to the building that I consider a shed type building. We're not gonna complete that as the first phase.
okay, that's basically all I had.
anybody else?
I have one question,
Yes,
but it's for my
Victoria.
personal. I understand you have volunteers. Do you have some kind of training program for your volunteers? I might be interested later.
Oh, come
You have
the
to- you
microphone,
have to-
Suzanne.
Stand and give your name, please, and where you live.
It's Suzanne Jacobs. I'm also a volunteer and a board member at Sucker River, and I live at one. Did she give her name? Suzanne Jacobs.
Suzanne Jacobs.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And I live at 118 Ludlow Street in Portland. So we are having a volunteer information session Saturday, the 24th, at 11 o'clock at our current location, 238 River Road. So if you're interested.
I
you
can't
can-
do this Saturday, but maybe I can get some dates from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can reach out anytime and we can work something out.
We generally run one about once one set one once a month, but we also do a couple of smaller ones depending on interest.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. What's the next step is, we do have another agenda item, and once we have finished with that, we will go back and go through, yours is a conditional use permit. We'll go through the section of the ordinance that applies to that, and we'll take a vote on with whatever conditions we determine need to be set. And then it will be a matter of you can go forward and work with Craig to get the building completed and set up, ready to go.
Okay.
Okay? The next agenda item is Steve Colby. He has a final plan for a 3-lot subdivision called Brookview Estates over on Christian Hill Road as well. And I think Mr. Lalonde is going to be representing him. Is that right, Mike? If you could go to the mic, please.
Did we get handouts?
Wait a minute, he's got them.
So, for our last meeting, I did have these done in the soils reports for both lots. But I left
You say
them-
both lots, you mean 3 lots?
Well, there's the remaining land that they didn't do,
Oh, okay.
because it's a non-buildable lot.
Oh, okay.
We'll go over that. So there's, see, I have it for your reference. One, two, and I just gave you lot 1, right? So you need lot 2.
Yeah.
Put it on the top. So lot 1.
Yep, mhm.
There's lot 2. There's lot 2. My fingers don't work too good.
Thank you.
take the extra one. I have one board member missing.
There's two extras,
Okay, I'll take
lots 1 and 2. Revised plan.
Thank you. You may hear a lot of scratching on the mics as we open these things up, so.
I can sing over here, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
I can sing so nobody can hear the scratching.
The first thing I noticed, Mike, was in the handout, you had a proposed location for the house on Lot 1, but you didn't have a proposed location for the house on Lot 2.
Yeah, I just show the setbacks,
Okay,
so the house can go anywhere within that.
okay.
And I think Steve could probably comment further, but on Lot 1, there's a driveway entrance.
Yep.
Near the utility pole.
Mhm.
He's gonna put a house up here somewhere. And on this one, that's where that banking is that he's gotta clear out on Lot 2.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mhm.
He's almost gonna go right in the middle, and I show where the driveway
Okay.
access is there that the road commissioner approved. So the only real change on this plan from the last one is we had dug a pond here, and I got some rough elevations and size of that pond. We had talked to the fire chief after our last meeting, and we had told him that there was another fire pond or access for a hydrant on the south road, which is only a couple tenths away from this. So he said doing a pond here isn't as critical, but we decided to do one just to have something on Christian Hill Road. And that's about the only difference that I've done. I've added note 11 up here that has to deal with the pond, and then having the town be able to use it for firefighting purposes.
So you say there the town has the right to maintain the pond. I'm assuming that that means the town will maintain the pond.
If it needs maintaining. He's going to actually line it with rocks, so that'll help stabilize the side slopes. So the only maintenance will have to be is if there's leaves that start to fill in. We got to talk to the fire chief and find out all of the specifications that he wants, but we're figuring to have the pipe 2 feet off from the bottom of the pond. So any sediment, leaves and all of that, we'll have time, before it builds up 2 feet. And then he's gonna have a apron off from the road, a gravel apron where where the trucks can turn out for the hydrant, or the dry hydrant. It's gonna be a 4-inch
So
PVC.
when you say he, are you saying the fire chief is going to do all this?
No, the pond's already done and stuff. We
Right.
just gotta get the specs that the fire chief wants.
Oh, I see.
As
okay.
far as
So that
how
Mr.
high up
Colby
the
can
pipe's
do
gotta
the
be
work.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
how
okay.
far up the pipe's gotta be off the bottom of the pond.
Yeah.
How far the hydrant's gonna be from the gravel apron that we're gonna put in. Because there's a 12-inch hose, but I know in Limerick we have flexible suction hose. So you can drive the truck past, bring it like that, so you don't have to have the hydrant or the standpipe 12 feet off from,
Okay.
off from the gravel shoulder or the apron.
Did you have any comment on this, Craig?
Yeah, Steve will come by today, and me emailing Steve went over what he's proposing to do for this apron.
So you're
Pipe height and all that.
You're comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Does anyone on the board have questions? The next step in this is a final plan for a minor subdivision, so we have to do a public hearing.
Okay, we already did a public hearing, and I know that was kind of
I know.
out of step,
Yeah.
but
Well, unfortunately, the ordinance says now that you have an absolute plan, and we would do that on, would have to be September 9th,
okay.
because September 2nd is a holiday, Labor Day, and I checked with Patty today, and, the room is available, so it would be at 7 o'clock on September 9th. And we would, more than likely, I can't see any reason why we probably would not render the decision at that time.
Well, I think on our, if I remember right, on the public hearing that we did have, only one person had any comment that was up on top of the hill, kind of across from one line,
Yeah.
this owner
Yeah.
here, so.
We
And I
did
don't know
have-
if you look in your book, if it says that you have to have a public hearing,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
may
Yeah.
have or shall have.
I looked at I believe it said shall, but
Yeah.
I don't see that as being any major problem. We did have someone come in last week to the Saco River thinking it was going to be this, so they have not, they need to get the proper notification
Yeah.
from Donna.
Okay,
So,
we can come
Okay.
back.
okay. Any questions? All right, if not, we will move forward. See you at 7 o'clock on September 9th.
Very good, thank you.
Oh, the other thing, we'll go back now to the Saco River Wildlife Sanctuary, and they did submit a parking plan, and we talked about that when we were there, so we know where that's going to be. There's 10 spaces down at the beginning. When you first drive into the driveway off to the right, then there are a couple of spaces in the upper lot. So, the other thing that I wanted to mention was one of the other planning board members mentioned that there is an old cemetery, and we talked about that when we were there, and you are eventually going to clear that out, maintain it, and make it access if anyone wants to. And you're working with the Historical Society, which is really great. And then the other thing I wanted to ask was the hours. Is it like 24 hours a day? I mean, it's not,
Yeah, so generally, our operation is 8:30 to about 8:30, but that can be flexible depending on what needs being done. Sometimes
Right.
people may stay later because
right,
things need doing.
right,
We try and, for critical care patients, ones that need 24 hours, we try and get those subbed out to other licensed rehabbers that are in the area, such as Suzanne.
Yeah.
They take them home and will care at night, so
Mhm.
we try and do it that way. So most of the time, except for, I think we discussed, except for maybe inclement weather, nobody would stay over.
right, right, yeah, okay. All righty, I think it's page 56, as I recall. 55, thank you. '55, 6G, standards applicable to conditional uses. And we'll go down through A through L. And I generally tend to go a little bit fast. People know that if I go too fast, all they have to do is speak up, and that's board members, and let me know that I need to slow down. So basically, it shall be the responsibility of the applicant to demonstrate that the proposed use meets all the following criteria. The planning board shall approve the application unless it makes written findings that one or more of these criteria have not been met. So A, we ready, Donna? Okay. The use will conserve shore cover and visual as well as actual access to water bodies. That's not applicable. B, traffic access to the site meets the standards contained in this ordinance, and traffic congestion has been addressed in accordance with performance standards in the ordinance. The answer to that is yes. Some of these comments are meant for like business subdivision kinds of, or malls and shopping centers, and as well as single-story businesses. So this one isn't quite as applicable to you, but yes, you have met them. C, the site design is in conformance with all municipal flood hazard protection regulations. That's not applicable. D, adequate provision for disposal of all wastewater and solid waste has been made. And you will be putting in a new septic system, or no, you were going to work with Craig to see if the existing system was adequate. And there would be no other waste products, would there, or do you,
We have some compostable waste from some of the animals, but it's all compostable.
so you do composting?
Yeah,
Okay,
and the wastewater disposal from what we understand from our inspections, is it's adequate, it works, it needs some remediation, and we will assess it in the spring again before we actually open it.
Right, so you'd work with
facility.
Craig
Yeah,
on that.
to make sure it's functional.
Is that a gas choice?
Yes. And just make the statement that it will include composting. E, adequate provision for the transportation, storage, and disposal of any hazardous materials has been made, not applicable. F, a stormwater drainage system meeting state standards shall be installed, not applicable. G, adequate provisions to control soil erosion and sedimentation have been made, not applicable. There is no construction at the site other than putting in parking spaces. H, there is adequate water supply to meet the demands of the proposed use and for fire protection purposes. And the answer to that is yes. I, the provisions for buffer strips and on-site landscaping provide adequate protection to neighboring properties, including public areas, from detrimental features of the development such as noise, glare, fumes, dust, odor, adverse visual impact, and the like. And basically, that's not applicable either. You have ample buffer strips with all the forestry and the trees that are there. And J, all performance standards in this ordinance applicable to the proposed use will be met. Yes. K, the use will not result in unsafe or unhelpful conditions. Correct. And L, the use will not have an adverse impact on natural beauty, historic sites, or rare and irreplaceable areas. And the applicable point here would be the old cemetery that's there, and you are going to clean that up. And
Our plan is to clean that up and actually provide
a path to it.
cemetery, yes,
Yeah. Okay.
which doesn't exist currently.
Okay. All righty, so I would suggest that we approve the application of Saco River Wildlife Cemetery with the following conditions: that the 10 parking spaces at the right of the entrance and the 2 by the upper lot be put in place, be constructed. That the parking spaces will be built according to the drawing that they submitted.
Okay.
That the old cemetery will be maintained with adequate public access. And I'm not going to address hours unless you guys want, I could say they don't start before 8:30, but if somebody's going to be there all night and an animal comes in, I don't think that's really, does anybody?
Joyce, I'd like to add something.
Yes.
They're gonna need some type of dumpster for any other trash that they accumulate, whether it be
Yes.
boxes or,
That our intention is to have a hauler and put a dumpster
yeah,
down.
so we'll need a schedule from that.
Okay, so this dumpster is just during construction, or?
No, this will be afterwards, any other trash that they accumulate from boxes or whatever, if they get.
Oh, when people bring animals in?
Yeah,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
anything else.
Okay, yep, okay. So there will be a dumpster on site that will,
A general trash disposal dumpster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you guys pay for. You can't put your stuff out at the, down the road to the town, yeah.
and that will have adequate buffer protection, if you will, so that it's not, I personally don't like the sight of just dumpsters sitting there, like if put it behind a couple of trees or something like that, so that it's,
Well, having you guys visit the site, there are a number of places we could build a
Right.
little platform in that
Right.
truck could access pretty easily.
exactly.
And we personally don't want to be looking at a nasty dumpster. And the other thing is, we're in the business of animals that go after dumpsters, so we really don't want,
Yes, yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Well, if you get them to come to you, you won't have to go there.
Yeah, right.
So am I missing anything, board members?
Sounds good to me.
If not, is there a motion to approve the Saco River Wildlife Center with the conditions that were just stated?
Make a motion to approve?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any,
Victoria?
yes. Any other questions or concerns? All in favor? Those opposed? I guess we're unanimous. So you're all set to go and just work with Craig on doing what has to be done. Okay, and thank you all for coming in.
And thank you for what you do.
Yes, exactly. A couple of items before we get to the minutes. You'll notice that each one of us, when I did the ordinance updates, I corrected the table of contents for the subdivision one, but I forgot to do it for the zoning one. So I'm doing the table of contents.
And this is for subdivision?
No, I said I did the subdivision. The reason we have this is that I did not do the ordinance. So we need to, you can either do it now or take it home, but take out just the table of contents in the front of your ordinance book, dispose of it and replace it with this one, please. And some of them are just a page off, but it just does make it easier for when someone's looking, something up, to find it 2 pages later, or frustrated and not being able to find it. The other item is on the site walk. Did you two do a separate site walk there? Because Daryl did at the Saco River.
I did not.
Did you?
No, unfortunately,
Yeah.
it blanked my head.
That's okay. That's really okay. So anyway,
So who went?
Daryl, myself,
Victoria.
Pete, and Victoria.
Okay. And Craig?
Well, Craig doesn't.
I don't need to.
Yeah, we don't.
No, I don't count.
No.
Not there. Okay, the other thing is that Donna has ordered us 2 more chairs, so we will be getting chairs.
2 more chairs ordered today.
Yeah, I did mention to the select board, and they were kind enough to say that we could also every week submit, or we decided, that Donna and I, in talking, if the rest of the board agrees, decided since we meet every other week, we won't do a weekly update with you guys. We would just submit one every other week. And Donna,
Can I pass these
oh,
out?
absolutely, please do. Yes, because I have some thoughts on them. Donna created a form that we can use, and then she also created some information to go in that form for this week. And I'll let you read over it, but I have some,
I knew you would. That's fine.
One of the things is brevity, and for the select board to just, it's basically a review of what we did, how much money we brought in, what will be coming up, just another mechanism for letting the public know what we're doing. And so she's got on the application, it's entitled Activity and Accomplishments. And the first section is new applications. Then it goes, well, she does year-to-date, but that would only be applicable this time, Donna, right? Because if we're going
Because
to,
we were doing from the 1st of August to the 18th of August, and we took that in within that time period.
well, I'm just saying, this is our first time, so we would have year-to-date. But in the following ones, if we're doing it every other week, we don't need a year-to-date.
Right.
So I would remove from the form that year-to-date applications accepted. And I would just take out year-to-date and say applications and fees collected. So there would be 2 titles under the heading. One would be new applications, and one would be application and fees collected.
Okay.
And then any other activity which may or may not exist. So I would suggest for submitting this week, for the selectmen to have this coming Thursday night, as you'll see at the top under new applications, she has Saco River Wildlife Center. I think the selectmen would appreciate our content not being overly wordy.
Oh, it was too wordy.
Yeah. So, you say the board accepted this application And I would say just 8:05:24, not at our planning board meeting, that's
You're
superfluous.
gonna say the board is second.
No, it's, the board accepted this application 8/5/24. That's that first sentence, period. Then you say the center has purchased property at 57 Christian Hill Road and wants to move to the new site. They are currently located at 438. We can leave that in if the selectmen decide it's relevant to put in, they can comment on or not. Then for the first time around, since this is our first time doing this, she has a year-to-date applications. There were 6, but I noticed you only listed 3. But you left out, you left out the brewery, you left out Colby, you left out
But
Joe.
they're not approved.
Mahmood's Lane,
This is only ones that are approved year to date.
we approved a bunch.
Oh, I see, you've got approved in there, but we approved Mahmood.
That was last year.
Was that 2023?
Mhm.
Was it really?
It
Wow,
was November.
sorry about
We still
that,
have no plan.
I believe so.
right.
Yes.
So, and Joe Brown was this year?
Yes.
I'm having a hard time hearing tonight.
Joe Brown was
This year.
okay, and Mr. Colby was this year,
Yeah,
so you need
But he's
to,
only had preliminary
right, because
review.
he's not
I keep
approved.
forgetting you've got approved here, okay.
But do you want it approved
Um,
on this? Because they're coming back
Right,
next
next
meeting.
time.
That's why I didn't include it, Joyce.
Yeah, okay, all right, that makes sense.
It
I guess
does.
I need to stop and think a little bit.
Accepted and approved are two different things.
Yeah,
I see,
Yeah.
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 We're really trying to report revenue, right?
Yeah, basically, we're
Well, that's
trying
the
to, yeah,
application's accepted,
yeah,
whether it's approved or not.
Right,
yeah. Because the next line down was the application fees, and so far it's come to $3,166.80. So Colby and Brewery were in 2023.
Who was?
The brewery and Colby, you said, were in 2023, so
Oh, yeah, no, I
yeah,
don't have them
yeah.
on there.
yeah, okay.
I do have a question about that, that total though, Joyce. We have 2 projects that have kind of come in. I think maybe we've talked to them, that they're kind of in limbo. And we've taken in like one from the brewery, like, what was it, $1,700, Craig?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're also holding money that came in from Taylor. So we've got around $4,000 that I really don't have a place to put it, so I wondered how you
Well,
wanted to
no,
deal
yes,
with it.
you say year-to-date applications. Well, they put in applications, so they should be included.
We didn't even accept either one of them.
But we took their money.
We did take that money.
All right, so if we took their money and their applications, we must have accepted their
Okay,
applications.
so you want Tucker Bend too?
That, just because they submitted their applications and we took their money, that doesn't mean that we approved it on that night. It might take a year for some of these things. So getting, there are 2 separate steps, if you will. So if we had an application come in and we accepted it, then they should be included in these fees. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
Doesn't make any difference whether we voted on them or not. If we took their money, we voted to accept their applications, or we would have had to give the
Okay,
money
So
back.
I'm gonna go back and add Blaze
And,
and Tucker Road.
and Tucker Road.
Maybe, Joyce, maybe it would flow better if we had applications accepted and then the fees and then what's been approved, because
Okay.
that's
I
the
agree.
normal
Okay.
order of
Yes.
things.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
It would
so-
make more sense.
yeah.
We're
so
going to
just-
have approved,
The year-to-date applications approved and fees collected
will be the heading.
would be, well, that's what you've got year-to-date applications approved, but then above that, you've got year-to-date applications accepted, and you could just add "and fees collected."
Oh, on the same one?
Right, on this, and then you're going to list them, and then you list the fees along with listing them. And then the next line down could be year-to-date applications approved. I don't even know if that's absolutely necessary myself, but I guess it is informational.
You can just keep this, I'll give
Thank
it to
you,
you.
because I'm
This is number
kind of
2,
confused.
and that's number 3.
Okay.
And you've got a starred thing there about Glanville. That's not important. That's not relevant. We just need to keep it absolutely simple and very, very basic.
I guess I was trying to be exact.
Yeah, well, I mean, you are exact, but there's some,
Well, we took the
there's-
390, I don't have it listed under the money up there, the Glanville.
well, you can put it in and
No, I
add
can
it to
do
it. Yeah.
I'll put it in.
Then, under the other activity, this is just year-to-date so far, was, instead of the 3 lines, I would say, I was going to say Gotha, but that sounds kind of, referendum questions were drafted, advertised, and promoted to the public. The zoning ordinance and subdivision ordinances were updated. That's it. We don't need anything else. No, planning board's been busy, blah, blah, blah,
I
blah,
was
blah.
trying to give them the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, well, I know, you're trying to make us look, you're trying to make us look good,
drift.
and I appreciate that. So we'll just revise that, and you would get it to,
You want me to take that last sentence, we've been busy?
I want you to take everything out of that except referendum questions were drafted, advertised, and promoted to the public, and the zoning ordinance and subdivision ordinance were updated.
Okay.
And then you'd get it to Nikki so they could have it Thursday night,
Yes, I will get this all fixed.
tomorrow, okay? And you can ship it off to me before you give it to her if you would.
I certainly will do that,
Yeah,
Joyce.
okay, thanks, sure, doll. Thank you for what you've done too, I really appreciate it.
Well, at least it was a starting point for us tonight,
Right, right,
even though it took me a while to dig it all out.
yeah.
What's the other page? Oh, that's it.
Other business, I don't mean other business, I mean minutes. Are we ready to go on to minutes? Oh, by the way, I did submit the budget. I didn't hear back from any planning board members as to
I'd already printed it, so I
Yeah.
put them in your package.
any changes, and you know, there's a self-explanatory information at the bottom, so I guess you all got that. All right, minutes. Ready?
Let me find it. Okay.
All set. Under Saco River Wildlife Center, 3rd line down. Sentence starts, basically, the center has doubled its intake of animals since 2020. And you got that they have, it should be, and they have outgrown their space. See that 3rd sentence
I
down?
got it.
Okay. Then the next, they have acquired the Christian Hill Wolf Center property and have cleaned the site. I would say are cleaning the site and the inside of the old farmhouse.
And old farmhouse.
Yeah, and the inside of the old farmhouse. And then the next sentence, their area has more room. You'd say
Boy,
the,
I should boost that paragraph up, didn't I?
the area has more room. The beginning of that last sentence. Okay, going down to the 3rd paragraph down under the same. They draw volunteers from local interns and from local universities. Just insert the word "and."
Actually, I believe what they said is they draw volunteers from interns from the local universities.
No, they also,
He did say that.
The interns
Oh.
came from the
but
local
the
universities.
volunteers also come from, it's hotter than the
They-
devil in here.
It is,
Um,
yeah. No,
The,
they do also come from the surrounding areas.
yeah, so,
And that next sentence, they also have members of the public who travel from all over the area. I guess we could put 2 volunteers.
yeah, okay.
And then that would maybe make it,
Yep,
it was awkward.
yep, thanks. Going to page 2, home occupation form. Just add a sentence at the end. Oh, boy, that feels good. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah,
Hurricane Ernesto is taking over here, but that's okay. Under the home occupation form, just add the sentence at the end. It says, "It was decided that if someone wanted to work from home with no one from the public coming or going, or 2 family members employed, no form was needed." And say also, no conditional use permit was required. Or would be required, not was, would be required.
And was it just up to 2, or could they have 2, or could they have more family members? I thought they could have more than 2.
No, it stopped at 2.
It stops at 2.
I think,
Okay.
Stopped at 2.
No,
Okay, okay.
No conditional use.
would be required. And then going down to number 3, gravel extraction pit on Cape Road. I would add a
Keep
sentence.
in mind, I didn't have much.
No, I understand, not a problem. I would add a sentence at the end of that paragraph. It was decided no conditional use permit was necessary, as they are not expanding the pit area. And other than that, I don't have any other corrections. Any other comments about the minutes?
On the last line, Donna, you
What?
spelled your name wrong.
She also, she spelled my name wrong, too.
Oh, yes, I didn't
We
even
could
say.
call you Donnie, though. If you
Donnie,
want to
yeah.
be
Donnie
Donnie,
if you
that's
want.
good.
She
I
also
missed
spelled Victoria victory.
Victory on the shower.
Oh, my God, I missed that one, Victoria.
I
That's
have,
under number 4, you misspelled Victoria's name.
You got some other ones?
just, let's see, under the first page, Saco River Wildlife Center, second paragraph, it says skinks instead of skunks.
I had that too.
What is that?
It says
Skinks.
skinks instead of skunks.
Yeah.
It says where,
Skinks, oh, skinks,
Maybe I thought
skinks.
that's how I spelled it.
and then the
They
next,
do take in skinks, you
There are
never know.
skinks, but yeah.
Skunks,
and
yeah.
then the next sentence down, their goal is to
Yeah, it
treat.
is,
Need to have an is in there.
Yep, yep.
And then one other thing, I don't know if this, I think we heard this at the site walk, I'm not sure that we heard it that night, but it said no one staying overnight, but I had understood with the exception of overnight snowstorms.
Well, I wasn't just snowstorms that they might have someone staying overnight. If there was an animal that was
Okay.
in need of attention and
But if
couldn't
it's
be
not
left.
talked about in the minutes, can I put that in?
I don't know if we,
This is what happened after.
It was,
Yeah,
it was
we-
talked
I
about last.
think it was.
Yeah.
was
We did
talked
talk
about at
about
the
it.
last meeting.
Yeah.
that-
We
we,
did?
Yes, they said that if an animal was really sick, somebody might have to stay, or if there was a bad weather situation.
okay,
Yeah.
that's
they
where
might.
you can add in.
I don't have.
That is the
Um,
center.
I would just put, except for extenuating circumstances.
There you go.
I would reaffirm this.
And in that same paragraph, after 8:30, it should say AM, because you have 5 o'clock PM. Just to.
8:30 to 5 a.m.
8:30 a.m. to 5
o'clock
p.m. You've got the PM after 5, but you
Right, you
don't.
just have to be consistent,
With the
although they said tonight it's actually till 8 PM.
Can you repeat that part with the exception for Donna that you said?
I will.
Yeah.
Staying overnight.
No one's staying overnight except in extenuating circumstances. Which that way it covers weather and sickness and extenuating.
Right.
Right. You can keep that.
I can keep this. Is that it?
Anybody else?
Bob, you got some more?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes of August 5th as amended?
I approve we accept the minutes as amended.
Grace made the motion, Pete seconded. All in favor?
Okay, who
Okay.
seconded it?
Pete?
He did.
What you do, just shake one hair or?
No, he put his hand up.
See?
I'm writing it down, I wanna get the vote right, so that's why somebody nods their head and I'm sorry, I don't get it.
All right, is there any other business?
Yes, you said we were coming together on September
Ninth.
9th.
Yes.
Does that mean we're going to do the 16th as well? Because we usually,
Well,
or are we
have-
doing?
No, I sort of waiting to see if anything comes in that into Craig's office.
So we might go 2 weeks in a row.
Traditionally, if something comes in and we can put it on the 9th, we would not meet on the 16th.
Okay,
I just am not going to say absolutely no at this point because it's too far away.
okay.
But more than likely, we would not be meeting on the 16th.
Okay.
So we're looking at,
September 9th, because the 2nd is, and also Patty reminded me, so that I don't mess it up this year, thank God for Patty, that we would not be meeting the first Monday in November because it's the night before voting and everything will be set up and we can't have public, so we just
First November.
need to keep that in the back of our
there'll be no
minds.
meeting on November 4th.
4th, whatever that first Monday is, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Anything else?
that was quick.
Hearing nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
There is.
Bob made the motion to adjourn, is there a
Say it out
second?
loud. Say
I'll
it out
second
loud.
it.
Say it out loud.
Sorry, Pete, I saw his
Pete-
hand.
Pete.
Oh, okay. Pete, you beat me.
All those in favor?
Nodded first.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Mike.